Not only do I not understand what you're saying, Kelly snipes, holding one of the twins. What you're saying, if it made any sense, it still would make no sense. Slick rolls his eyes as Benjamin chuckles. You would have talked to her now, man. The blood ruffian growls to his older brother, looking back at Kelly. I ain't gave her no damn dick for a while. She done lost her fucking mind. Oh, watch your nasty mouth, everyone hears. Sally's having none of it, holding the oldest twin. Slick, I swear for God Almighty, one more time, I'ma pit this baby down and beat you something like Mama Clara used to. Slick looks up at his future sister-in-law a few feet away as his hands stroll over the huge buffalo hide sitting on the dining room table. He then looks over to a belly-chuckling Benjamin, watching as a Creole nearly falls from his seat. You gonna let your wife talk to me like that now? Control that woman, he scowls. Suddenly out of nowhere, the handsome thug feels a baby bottle whiz right by his head. Sally is upset in the worst way. Control me? Control me, you say? You're about a teeny tiny second from getting done, and done the wrong way, the sassy mother snipes, handing her baby to a midwife. With a huff in her step and a huge chip on her shoulder, probably because the new mother has had no more than 3 hours of sleep in the last 3 days, Sally arrives inches from Slick's nose. Say that to my face, you little short bastard. I'll knock you down so damn fast, she hisses. Slick knows to back up, now with a slight giggle. Calm down, little mama. I was just playing. Sally backs down as Kelly walks over with the other twin. The new mama is handed her adorable infant right as Kelly rides up to Slick, just like her spirit sister moments before. Now, try and control me, Slick. I dare you. This time, Slick does not back down, right up in his wife's face. You barking up the wrong tree. I'ma take you in the next room and split you wide open like a good woman. Nice and wet, you see? Kelly backs up with a snarl on her painted red lips. I'm not one of your whores. Slick grins. No matter, I'm still gonna fuck you like one. With a resigned huff and a knowing eye roll to her Sally nearby, Kelly walks away, right as Slick grabs her by the arm. This time, he's serious. What's wrong, little mama? You've been treating me like a dirty dish rag all week. What'd I do? The handsome hoodlum pleads, right as Kelly breaks away. The socialite smiles at the sentiment, kissing her husband on his cheek. Both know exactly what's going on. You see, 2 alpha wolves, whether male or female, cannot be in the same setting for very long without stepping on each other's toes. It's been 3 weeks since the birth of Darnell and Parnell, and Slick and Kelly are at each other's throats. Just last night, after the babies were fed and put down to a 5-minute snooze, the typical for infants, Kelly stomped over to Slick and cursed him out for all the teeth he had in his head. All because the ruffian ate the last of the rhubarb marmalade on his morning toast. And it's getting worse. Even sex doesn't seem to work. Worst of all, the ladies have taken to calling the sexy thug short. One of the only insults that can be hurled at Slick that actually hurts his feelings. Sally has said it. Kelly keeps repeating the horrible term like it's now part of her minute-to-minute vernacular. To be honest, if not for his new nephews, the golden-haired thug would have left last week. But Benjamin wants to spend as much time with the babies as possible, and being that he is a new uncle, and the fact that little Slick is now with Kelly and Slick has stayed put. This still does not keep him from wanting to scream to the high rafters. Arriving back to the dining room table, Slick looks down to the laid-out buffalo hide. Though everybody has been at everyone else's something awful, all except Benjamin, of course, who now seems to have a silly pregnant grin on his face because of his baby boys, they have been able to get something accomplished. 12 clues have been figured out concerning the old hide, much needed information if the boys are going to make it to Indian country next week. They have to talk to a few native elders about spiritual happenings in the last century. Slick has tried his best to bone up on his Cherokee terminology, thanks to an old native medicine man that lives up the road from the midwife shack. The old man always comes in and almost around about twilight when he gets a chance, and he always has good moonshine with him. Probably one of the reasons Slick has not snapped and cursed everybody out except for the babies. Looking at 2 symbols in particular, right as Ben walks up, handing the babies to his kid brother, Slick holds Darnell and Parnell dear. over and over in his mind what he's just been told, what he has been told in the last few days. Oh yeah, he can't even figure that out, can he? He says to Ben. Benjamin points to two symbols that have been perplexing everybody. They are by the other burnt-in symbols that seem to resemble hills and mountains. This right here, this I think is Mississippi, ain't it? So? Slick says, right as Parnell coos on the thug's shoulder. I think this little guy right here, I think he's gonna be our partner in crime. I'm gonna teach him everything I know. The hustler grins to the baby boy. Over my dead body, everybody hears, making one of the midwives laugh. Slick rolls his eyes from a leering Sally, looking down to the bundle of joy in his left arm, right as Parnell smiles, melting his uncle's heart for the 1,000th time. Content as a fat cat with a warm saucer full of milk, the baby totem killer looks to his brother, watching as Ben studies the huge map. The past week has been a bunch of hits and misses, but through hard work and determination, a lot has been figured out. Look here. Use that thing old Yella made for us, he urges, rocking each baby gently. Ben looks to his right with bright eyes. He had forgotten about the cipher the old native had created for reading one of the maps. As his intelligent eyes dart from left to right, reading English words and symbols, applying such to the huge skin map, Ben sits down as he inches over what must be centuries of lost knowledge and spiritual folklore. The Creole hustler looks up with astonishment. Dear Lord, the whole of the damn South is like a damn spirit playground. Some places for dark mojo, we know that, and some for light mojo, he utters. Medicine, Slick corrects, right as baby Parnell coos, as if answering his uncle. Yella said it's called medicine, he urges, right as the little baby's tiny mouth belches. This makes the thug grin from ear to ear. Ben looks up with a sarcastic glare. Mojo, and stop correcting me. Over and over, as his eyes make quick flight with the age-old hide to the small sheets of paper, the Creole takes in as much as he can, slowly and carefully, just as Yell has instructed. The old symbols Benjamin studies can sometimes have 2 and 3 meanings depending on the part of the United States they represent, as well as the people that created the symbols and their spiritual beliefs. Look into a particular symbol, one that looks like a swirling sign with an up-pointed triangle, the Creole takes in a curious memory. Slick and he visited this place just 2 years ago. Say, Ben calls out, instantly grabbing the gray around his neck. You know Alma in Lawrence, Mississippi. You remember? Slick looks up from the babies in his arms, both dozing comfortably. The ruffian's face has a look about it that looks about as scared as Slick can look, which would look more like a scowl to anyone else. Taking the babies to their mother, the Cajun arrives to his brother's side as both peer down to the map. Time to get down to brass tacks. Ben just pulled up a memory that nobody needs to know about, especially 2 infants new to the good old world. You know what happened, man, he whispers. Ben's gaze darts from a particular area on the hide map that represents Mississippi. The look in his eyes is about as serious as the face of a heart attack at the end of a bullet. We was young, the Creole finally says, looking back down to the map. Both men look to an area that represents a town in Magnolia State called Oma, a small county seat in Lawrence, Mississippi. Known for being about as small as an ant's balls, the small area is known for her wonderful farmland as well as its warm people, no matter what your skin color happened to be. But that was not always been the case. You see, in 1919, when Oma was only smaller than what it is now, 5 black men were lynched for stealing 2 chickens and a bushel of potatoes. Just 2 months before that, 8 black African Americans were either lynched, stabbed, or killed in some twisted way, all to the giggling hilarity of racist, rabid animals that had more teeth in their head than morals or fear of God Almighty. Mississippi is legendary for her brutality against African Americans, more so than any state in the Union. But the boys got a very good reason why this state is an eerie place to visit, especially if one is spiritually gifted. It all happened one night in Ohm. You see, the men were called up by a native family whose forefather and mother were Ohm's namesake from the Ohm tribe, being killed and poisoned many times in prison or worked to death along black slaves. The last of the Ohm tribe did their best to remain one way and one way only, alive and breathing to see another day. The simple task was getting harder and harder to do as each day passed. The last of the Ohm tribe have been harassed physically and mentally by the racist townsfolk, all for the land they inherited from their people. You see, the native family owned land up and down the Pearl River, land that had been in their family for at least 2,000 years. Since taking numerous court cases to the highest court in Mississippi, the elder, Henry Dillon Proudfoot, has had to maintain a strong resolve under the constant pressure of redneck bigoted simians and the like. The situation finally got even worse when the ignoramus townsfolk took to poisoning the last of the native people's farm animals, the only livelihood they had left. This is when a black man by the name of Elliot secretly got word to Ben and Slick, who had just so happened to be nearby in Martinsville. The brothers were passing through, heading back to South Carolina after taking on a blood job for a cotton farmer owner. Making it back to Ohm in the dead of the night, Slick and Ben were amazed at the land the native elder owned. Offered a nice cot on the floor with soft blankets and pillows, the brothers decided instead to sleep in the packet. They did this for a reason. Elliot had told the men that the family was mainly victimized at night. There is no better time to catch an ill-minded hate-monger doing the devil's work than under the cloak of darkness. But the men did not see people that night. They saw something strange and ominous, visions that still haunt the brothers to the present day. God damn it. These were ghosts, weren't they? Slick whispered over to Ben right as the hustler hunches closer. No damn ghosts looked like that, man. They were evil spirits for sure. You saw with your damn self. You were right there with me. Slick looks off to his own son sleeping on Kelly's lap a few feet away. A midwife is filling the socialite's ear with worthy gossip. The hustler turns back to his brother with coarse whispers. That night was one of the few times Slick worried if he would ever actually see his family ever again. The night sky was brilliant that night. Every star could be seen for as far what looked like heaven in all of eternity, a brilliant light show of ageless wonder and enchantment as the boys talked about their plans for that day. They had planned on staying at home for at least 2 days. A good show of support would probably fend off the rowdy locals. But that night things got strange around about 12 in the morning. The boys knew this because of the radio station that was playing in the packet that they had. Slick had just gotten a new radio for his car. Being that cars are not sold with radios in the 1920s, they were listening to a nearby station that had just so happened to play Slick's beloved Zydeco music. With hot coffee and corn cakes from their host's wife, the setting was perfect for talk and planning, as well as what womanfolk the boys wanted when they made a pit stop in Jackson. Suddenly, the new radio shut off, and just like that, the boys were surrounded by an odd silence. Even crickets had stopped chirping. This didn't